Hello, you're welcome to today's lesson, and we are still treating college mathematics. We are now continuing with bearings because I've treated bearings before. So we have a question on the board. A farmer travels 10 kilometers due north to reach his land. He then travels 24 kilometers due east to bring his harvest to the market. The first question is for us to draw a diagram for the problem. Then second, we are to find the distance from his starting point to the market. And finally, we are to find the bearing from his starting point to the market. So the first thing is for us to draw. And we know that for the bearing, we have to draw the four cardinal points: north, south, east, and west. So going back to the question, the farmer travels 10 kilometers due east. Due east means direct through the eastern part. So that means we have already seen east. I mean, the farmer started from here. Let's call this P. Then 10 kilometers due. He then traveled 24 kilometers. Okay, the first one is due north place, not due east. So let us leave this like this first. Due north is directly through the north. So we have this. I'm getting to a point, and that's after 10 kilometers. He stopped and then travels 24 kilometers due east. Okay. Then we have to draw the diagram. So let's take this to be the diagram. So let us call it PQR. Remember, this is right 90 degrees. So this is 10 and this is 24. Due east is 24 kilometers. So we have done the first thing. The second question, we have to find the distance from this starting point to the market. So we are taking R to be the point where the market is. So in other words, we are now looking for PR. We are looking for PR. So PR squared is equal to PQ squared plus QR squared. Because since it's a right angle triangle, we have to use a Pythagoras theorem. Okay. And that means our PQ should be 10 squared plus 24 squared. So if you carry out the simplification, we have 100 plus, you multiply out 24 by 24, that will give us 576. You multiply this out, you get 576. So that means that PR alone should give us square root of, you add this will give us 676. That's 576 plus 100, 676, 676. And that will give us 26. That will give us 26 kilometers. So We have succeeded in getting PR to be 26 kilometers. Therefore, PR is equal to 26 kilometers. That's the distance from the starting point to the market. Now, the next thing is for us to find the bearing from his starting point to the market. The bearing should be this angle. I remember that when you are talking of bearing, it's always clockwise. So the bearing is this particular angle. In other words, we have to calculate that. But also remember that the whole of this is 90 degrees. So in order to continue, we have to find this. So we continue by using either sine, tan, or cosine. Now, since we are looking for this angle, and we know this place and we know this is opposite, this is adjacent. And how do we know the opposite? The opposite is always the side facing the angle. Y hypotenuse is always the longest side, and then the third side will now be the adjacent. Take note, you can only use that formula if you have a right-angled triangle. If the triangle is not a right angle, it's not a right-angled triangle, you have to use either cosine rule or sine rule. So let's move on. And that means that tan theta is equal to Q R all over PQ, which is equal to 24 all over 10 to come from the distance. This will give us 2.4. Then coming up, coming up here, we have tan theta is equal to 24. Therefore, tan inverse theta is equal to, you look for, tan theta is 2.4. So tan inverse theta equals to tan inverse 2.4. Check this from either formula table or your calculator, and that will give us 67.38 degrees. That will give us 67.38 degrees, which is approximately equal to 67.4 degrees. And that is the bearing of the farmer from the starting point to the market. So we have finished the three questions. Succeeded in finding, we have succeeded in drawing the diagram, finding the distance, and also finding the bearing from the starting point. So the bearing is 7.4 degrees. So please like, share, comment, and subscribe. If there's any question, you put it in the comment section so that I will look at it in my next video. Thank you.